What we've been finding at Measurable Energy is that there are lots of building systems that already exist for eliminating wasted energy from heating or ventilation and lighting. But small power and plug sockets is one of the places that really hasn't had a big focus. What we found when we first went out and started gathering this data and looking at small power data in buildings was that up to 40% of the energy from that building is coming through those plug sockets. And then within that, up to half of that is then completely wasted energy from devices that just get left on overnight and at the weekend. One of the key things that Measurable Energy can do is we can automate finding that wasted energy and then turn off all of those devices when people aren't there, and then turn them back on before people arrive back the next day or after the weekend. We think they're pretty genius too. So the company's been around since 2018. It really started with just getting this data. A lot of this data didn't exist from buildings. So the process of sort of building this started from gathering that data, building machine learning algorithms that would be able to learn the patterns of people working in data, all from energy use, and then progressing through different prototypes to then bring that to a product that we can provide businesses and that they can then automate all these savings in both energy cost and also emissions. It's a tough one. I mean, it's one of those ones where the system itself is quite agnostic to industry. I'd say that maybe with it, within the office environment, so it kind of crosses into multiple different industries, as lots of businesses have an office environment, and the reason I say that is because we've got this kind of mix of hybrid working now, and people are coming and going to office at different times, and that's when we're most prone to see things get left on, is when people are coming and going frequently. And by being able to learn that pattern of when people come and go, and then turn things off, overnight, at weekends, when people aren't there, on Fridays, maybe, days when there's not as many people in the office, that's really where there's a lot of benefit in terms of that kind of energy reduction and those emission reductions. So it doesn't necessarily, focus in there on one industry. It's anyone that has office real estate within their business. In 5 years, I really hope that people don't just know us for plug sockets. The machine learning and the technology that's in this system to identify the use when things are on, when things are off, when things are on standby. There's no reason why this can't be used across other data sets. Look at lighting in a building, look at the heating and ventilation. I see Measurable Energy as being that brain that we can run in the built environment, identifying all the different places where there might be energy that's been wasted, and then being able to control that or alert off that. I think there's some really interesting expertise that are going to be on that panel. I think people are going to get a really good overview of where flexibility is in the energy markets right now, but also, what's coming through the pipeline. Demand side response, flexible grids, it really is our future. And I think we're going to get some really interesting insights into different ways that businesses and also people can benefit in general from us being more flexible on the grid. So I always enjoy looking at the other technology providers, seeing what kind of new ideas are out there, what things are coming. But I also think that this year there's a really, really strong speaker program. There's some fantastic different speakers that are going to be taking part at the event, and I think that program is going to be really, really interesting. I think we're going to get a lot of insight into the future of energy from this show.